Two major musical competitions just held in Perth have highlighted the fact that there are a lot of bands around town. In fact, one of them, one competition that is, the Masters of Music, attracted 164 entries, and each band entering provided the recording of its particular piece. This means that there are many, many people in Perth depending on the live music industry for employment and for enjoyment. But what about the musicians themselves? What do they get out of it? In fact, why do they choose this life? We asked filmmaker Steve Jodrell to pursue these questions with Manteca, who in fact won that Masters of Music, and with the younger group Tuxedo Wave, who at the start of this film are limbering up for the Battle of the Bands.
The five young men that comprise the rock group Tuxedo Wave rehearse with a boundless enthusiasm that in some way perhaps compensates for their lack of musical experience. Very few of their songs are formally written. Most are a meticulous recreation of the original. Their own songs are a product of the agony of constant alteration, trial and retrial in the search for that all-important goal, a unique, characteristic style. Brothers Peter and Jamie Harries are the sons of well-known nightclub entertainer Peter Harries. Peter Jr. works at his father's business. Jamie is a promising art student but has suspended his studies in favor of the band. Also brothers are twins Gary and Steve Wilson, presently fourth-year medical students. The fifth member, Nick Neatus, has spent the majority of the last year on the dole, occupying his time fruitfully until, as he puts it, he can play any jingle or song that has been played on radio in the last year.
Yeah, we play the same thing every time. Go, how are you going to go?
Well, what do you think?
Well, it's all right. It's okay.
Look, I mean, we've been hammering away for about 2 hours now, and everything we've come up with, you guys have scrapped it. I mean, at this state, we're going to get absolutely nothing done.
Doesn't sound like us, you know.
Doesn't
Like
sound
the
like
guitar
us.
going.
Nothing we've done tonight
You know
sounds
Jeff
like us.
Brownrigg? You know when we played on the beach? Sounds like Jeff Brownrigg.
Look, I haven't heard you come up with one suggestion tonight, and every suggestion that Steve and I have come up with, okay, so some of them were originated 2 years ago, but everything we come up with tonight, you tell me.
Do you fight a lot?
Yeah, well, in our band, because we do get on pretty well, but the tastes in the band do vary quite a bit, you know.
They vary a lot.
Gary will come out with something and Jamie will sort of go, oh my God.
Yeah, mine...
Like me and Pete brought up straight on rock, that's it. Like rock, like those groups that you used to have when we were younger and just starting. It used to be things like Status Quo and groups like that, which everybody's grown out of. Yeah, these guys, they didn't start on rock at all.
Don't forget, Gary and I are about 4 years older than you, and when I was 18, I was into sort of Led Zeppelin, Skyhooks, you know, more basic rock. It's only my sophisticated taste for Steely Dan and Supertramp and Manfred Mann's Earthbound has only been a recent development.
Play rock like we did.
You're very proud of Australian rock, is that true?
Yes,
Oh, extremely.
Terribly. Skyhooks out there.
There is so much rubbish on the radio, which is American, and because it's American, it gets played, and there is so much excellent Australian music which never gets played because it's Australian.
You sure you don't do music because it's glamorous?
Oh, definitely.
You don't like all the women that go with music?
We hate them. Oh, we hate the women.
But, I mean, surely music is a very glamorous profession, and you must attract a certain degree of status.
There's no business like show business.
Actually, when we started, we didn't think about that. You know, you don't think about it. You think about playing, oh, gee. You know, when you started the camera up first time, you think, oh, gee, I'm going to play this right. And nervous, you know? And
yeah.
We didn't think about that kind of thing, but after a while, well, people started influencing in, and people say, oh, what about the chicks and all this?
We enjoy relating.
Start thinking, gee, there probably are chicks. And you see them, they sit there looking at you and going like this. And
what do your families think of you going full-time into music?
my mother and father full for it. Dad, I think Dad's an entertainer. He has been for like 20 years or something, longer. And he's just full for it. He really loves it. Jamie came up to me and he said, "Can I learn the guitar?" I got a big thrill. I thought, that's terrific. One of the big thrills of my life, I think.
Is it the sense of immortality that your sons are going to be continuing what you started?
I think it is that too, yeah. I've got a great love of entertainment. Always have, ever since I was 3 or 4 years old. It's all I ever wanted to do. And when they started to stray that way, I thought, that's fantastic.
Steve and Gary, why have you planned to give up medicine, for instance, to continue on with Tuxedo Wave?
I've given 5 years of my life to sort of studying 6 nights a week, and it gives you a very limited social life. So I think at least for 12 months I'd like to really do something for myself, besides which I want to put 100% into the band, because I'll never know how far it can go unless I do that.
What are your chances on Saturday with the Battle of the Bands?
Good.
Who's your greatest opposition?
Osmo. The Giant Killers. They beat Fingerprints and the Boys, and they're tight. They're a lot older than us. Maybe it'll take us 6 years or...
Experience. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Just tell me when you feel like seeing some
Tuxedo Wave play new wave rock, or as they explain, 60s with an 80s feel. They recently gained the distinction of being runners-up in the 6IX Masters of Music competition at the Entertainment Centre. An incredible achievement considering the fact that they have been performing for less than 9 months.
You haven't got the timing for it.
The winners of the same Masters of Music competition are another reasonably new band, but radically different in style, in experience, and age. The band is a daring experiment, reminiscent of the large bands of the 40s. It is a labour of love called Manteca. Manteca perform twice a week. Their rehearsal period is confined to approximately 2 hours prior to the Monday night performance at the Melbourne Hotel. Their sound system is borrowed, much of their additional equipment is on loan from music shops, and until recently the musicians received a pittance for their labours. Most of their music is derived from little-known American compositions, although a lot of their work is original. Their particular style of music, a mixture of rock music and jazz, or jazz fusion, as they prefer to call it, has aroused much disdain from the more traditional jazz purists who object to the highly structured nature of the music. In fact, their first major performance as a supporting act at the Australian Jazz Convention in October last year was suffered in almost complete silence. The 10 musicians, plus the vocalist, Alan Lyford, have been drawn from varied backgrounds, including social work, town planning, teaching, and private business. They all share a common discontent for the available musical outlets. The band is the product of the vision of one man, their leader, Uwe Stengel. Uwe, an established European jazz musician, has played with such jazz greats as Dizzy Gillespie. He controls the musicians with the fierce dedication of a benevolent dictator.
I play 5 nights a week, 6 nights a week with Manteca. Things get so frustrating sometimes, and come Sunday I'm ready to just go on the boat and go sailing. I need it. Trying to earn a living as a musician, you have to do a lot of commercial things that you really don't want to identify with. And I suppose that was just a move to stay sane, you know, to do something that I want to do and that a lot of other guys in town want to do. We started writing a basic repertoire, and there was no talk about getting a job or anything. It was just a rehearsal thing. And we rehearsed under the most ridiculous conditions, like in midsummer, like in 40-degree heat, you know, in bathers and things. And I think everybody who put up with that for months and months and months, you know, deserves a gold medal. But that just proves how dedicated everybody was, or still is.
I've never worked with a fella in Perth, or anywhere for that matter, that's as dedicated as Uva is and will push through any trouble.
Brendan Darby, apart from being one of the more established trumpet players in Perth, is also a talented artist. He has had several successful exhibitions, most recently in Hong Kong. Do you find there's any conflict between your ambition to be a musician and your ambition to be an artist?
There's not anymore. There used to be a conflict between music and art, in that I was doing a commercial art course and I knocked it on the head so I could go out and play music, play rock and roll. And that wore thin after about 6, 7 years. And I had to knock that on the head because I found I was playing a lot of commercial rubbish.
He's not exactly a temperamental artist, so I don't have to worry too much about screaming fits and tantrums. And I think with musicians and artists, that is their love, and it has to come first. And I think it's difficult having to accept the fact that you will always come second.
Alrighty, well, here the second group this afternoon with our Battle of the Bands, a young group who have been creating quite a little bit of noise around Perth over the last 6 months.
You nervous?
No, we're not nervous. We're very confident, actually.
Oh, reasonably.
You're making a decision this week about whether you quit medical school and stay with the band. Does a lot of the decision depend upon whether you win today?
I think that will be a very influencing factor. We would like to take a year off from our studies. We'll definitely go back. Not really quitting, just taking a break.
It doesn't mean that if we don't win today, then the band is not going to go on anymore.
Give them a nice big round of applause. A group of very young, talented musicians, Tuxedo Wave. Thank you.
What do your friends feel about your son's decision? Do they agree with you?
No, I think they think that I should make them. Well, I don't think any parent can make a man. Well, let's face it, at 22 they are men. And I don't think any parent can make their children go on doing something that is interfering with what they... You see, they want to do medicine, and they want to do music, and they can't do both properly, 100%. And they've always put 100% into what they do.
Do you think they're making the right decision?
Well, I think only time will tell that. But I think it's got to be done.
It's very hard to give advice on that sort of... I suppose my first reaction would be, you know, they're so far along in their studies, why not finish it off, you know? But then you look at what happened to me, that's exactly what I did, and I'm not using any of the studies that I went through university and did.
Bruce Johnson, Bachelor of Science, turned his back on a promising career in chemistry to devote his talents to writing original music for Manteca and running a small antique shop in William Street.
It's a strange thing to be a musician in today's world. You've got to a large extent, compromise yourself in terms of the types of music that you want to play, and in comparison to what the audience in general, the general public, want to hear.
You don't feel that you're in fact, your whole life is music?
No, I don't think so. I think that's a mistake that a lot of musicians make, and it's not good. It's not good for your balanced life as a whole. I think very few musicians who do that ever achieve the sort of success or fulfillment that they really want.
As empty as the room, reaching out for you, pillows cold as my despair and gloom. Ever since you left, I still can't smile, but beneath that mask, my smiles have turned to tears.
Band are really regarded by most musicians as the top bracket or the elite musicians of Perth. For that reason, a lot of musicians from other bands come along to see the band, just to see individuals perform on their instruments.
How we laughed until you left and left me nothing but memories. I remember how you laughed at me. I remember just like yesterday. I remember. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
We're doing something we want to do. And how, well, the arrangements are not geared to suit an audience. The arrangements are geared to suit us, and we just hope to get an audience that likes that kind of stuff. It's not the intention to become a commercial proposition. I mean, if it does, it'll be great. If it can become a commercial proposition with what we want to do, with what we're aiming for, that'll be great. And it looks like it's going that way. But obviously, if you have 11 guys, if 11 guys in a band have to be paid, I mean, no matter how much money you earn, it's got to be split 11 ways. There's not much left.
Why then do 11 of the best musicians in Perth get together to form a band that's financially probably going to be a disaster?
Probably so they can play with the other 10. I think that's probably the main reason. And there's never been an opportunity, well, in my case, there's never been an opportunity to play exactly what we want to play or what the other 10 want to play, and have it accepted.
You have to earn a living somehow. So it's always, with most of us, it's a big compromise. I mean, everybody works 5 or 6 nights a week earning money, and the one night a week we're doing what we want to do.
We rage on with the kids. We get on really well with all the age bracket, which is, usually there's a generation gap between oldies like us and those kids, but we get on really well with them. I think they appreciate that we try to take an interest without intruding. You can't intrude in their world, you know. It's a very special world of that age group.
The night is young and so are we, let's dance.
We realise that music is a dicey profession. My father, sort of one of the members of the older generation, his generation, he came from England, war-torn England. He had to fight for things that he got, whereas our generation got things a hell of a lot easier. And so because the basic things were attained so easy, you become blasé about that, so you want more. And some of our generation go out and want drugs, some of them go out and drink a lot. To me, I get my highs playing music.
It's the telephone, it's your mum, why aren't you home? Then she starts to cry, hasty kiss, a quick goodbye. Same time next week, I'll be waiting. Your place or mine. What about the time? Once a week, love affair. We know not when, we know not where. Your place or mine. Your place or mine. Your place or mine. Your place or mine.
All bands we considered extremely good today, but one had to be the winner. And the winning band that we picked were Nosmo.
Disappointed?
Frankly, yes.
What about your decision to defer medicine for a year now?
Well, as I said before, we want to put 100% into both music for this year and then medicine after that.
It's very hard to give up security, you know. You have to be very, very dedicated to really give up a lot of things just for the sake, for the benefit of music.
I live, eat and breathe playing music. The only thrill which compares to seeing a person come in sick and go out well is the thrill of being on stage and performing and having an audience sort of, I suppose, eating out of your hand or just responding to what you're doing.
Steve Jodrell's story of two bands, Tuxedo Wave still chasing success, and Manteca with a considerable measure of it already. Over the weeks, those not familiar with a piece of music called Birdland will surely get to know it. It's our program theme, and you heard it at the beginning. We thank Manteca for it. Tonight, just this once, instead of Birdland, Manteca takes us out with I Remember. Good night.